Everyone, today is Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. Time is 1:01 p.m. We're continuing our special budget meetings. This is our fiscal 22 Resource Management Office Budget Review. Attending Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. One and only business item, and it is a discussion. It's a review of the fiscal 22 RMO budget request with Director Jody Beasy and also with Kim Riley. So Jody, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. As noted on our budget summary, we are requesting an additional FTE, specifically a grants manager. And as you may recall, the board approved the grants manager position in 2018, which at that time, $10 million in grant funding funneled through our office. As of 2020, $26 million in grant funding has funneled through our office. The FTE salary may be offset by future grants that include M&A, which are costs directly allocable to administration of the grant program.
Okay, so question.
Funding reduces county expenses. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just that grant funding reduces county expenses, and grant-funded programs benefit our community. And there's multiple examples that if the board would like for us to provide, we will.
Question for you, is this grants manager grant funded?
That's where it would not be grant funded initially, but over time, M&A could offset that cost. So for example, a FEMA grant where we would be given an opportunity to have funding for one of their eligible programs allows 5% M&A. So depending upon the amount of grant funding that we receive, that M&A then would be potentially directed to the individual of this FTE, the grant manager, provided that they were working directly and it was allocable to that program.
Jody, this is Bill Brooks. Just so everybody is on the same page, what is M&A?
Oh, thank you, Bill. If it has to do with management and administration.
That's it. Thank you very much. I'm familiar with grants, and it's very common not to have that grants manager funded initially out of grants because you really can't do it retroactively, but you can move forward and more of it will be funded through certain grants.
Okay, and the 2,500, the next line item, Jody, that's the onboarding for that individual?
Yes.
And the 78,769, I assume, is loaded?
That's a fully loaded position, yes, sir.
Okay.
With the 2,500.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, just for everyone's benefit, well, really mostly us, but yours and Kim's, excuse me, yours and Kim's wages we fund. The rest of your staff is grant funded. Is that correct? Okay. Do you have questions for?
And Chris, just to give you an idea. Oh, I'm sorry. Just want to just add one thing if I may.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Our B budget is fully offset by the revenue that we brought in by grant allowances for the M&A. So that's just an example that we do offset our B budget by the revenue that we bring in.
Okay. Okay. So basically what you're saying is it's not on the county's dime.
Just the operating.
Well, initially, yeah.
Similar to what Bill,
Go ahead.
well, right, similar to Bill's explanation, I thought he did an excellent job in providing you an explanation that initially the funding of the position would be the county, but over time there are opportunities for that salary to be offset by M&A.
Okay, fair enough.
So then, Jody, is one of your salaries offset by it right now, or only the B budget, or only the operating is offset by it?
This is Kim. just for the record. So I'm looking at our expenses for 2020, and our actual operating expenses for our B budget were $6,145. The revenue that we brought in was $12,911. So we offset all of our B budget, and in addition, we also offset some of our personnel expenses.
Okay.
So I think the thought with this grant manager position is if we were able to spend more time actively looking for grants, et cetera, then I think we could probably not only reduce expenses to the county and benefit our community, but from the onset, when you're creating a grant, if you're including this expense, then we would have the opportunity to possibly offset the entire position's expenses with M&A on different awards that we were able to get funded.
Okay.
So it would initially be an expense to the county, but our revenue would not come from property tax. It would come from the M&A. We currently have $25,000 budgeted. I would hope that we would be able to have that number increase over time to where it fully funded this position.
Okay. Anything else?
Kim, what percentage of your work is spent on the transit side?
It varies. We toggle our time. I could run a report that would show. Typically, I would say at least 50% of my time is public transportation. It definitely ebbs and flows. For example, with our management of the CARES Act funding, I was pretty stretched during that time, and I would say it more heavily went to the general governmental side. But
Okay.
as you know, federal funding, there's still a lot of mandated responsibilities there that also need to get done. So average, I would say if I had the benefit of having a support person on the grant side, I would probably spend about 75% of my time on the public transportation. But, you know, both of those roles have jobs and duties that have to get done.
So does transit contribute to any of your time, the 50% now or the 75% later?
No, that counts as, that's our match piece.
Ah,
So that's
okay.
our in-kind match that we often speak of.
Yes.
That's where those dollars come in. It satisfies the match requirement.
Okay. I noticed I'm going to back up to the A again. Okay, so you're budgeting bonuses for fiscal '22, is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Any other questions?
No, just that we're going to have some mandated service, new positions that we'll have to look at. So
Right.
if this, goes forward, then we'll just keep that in mind that this is probably unfortunately going to end lower on the scale.
Question, how do I put this? You received, was it $4 million in CARES funding for public transit, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, what happens with that? Does that, help us out here, is that going to offset anything?
Right now, that money is used for operation, and it's dedicated to operation.
Okay.
No personnel.
No personnel. So when you say, excuse me, when you say operations, in my mind, I equate that with the B budget.
Okay, so for operations for the transit center, and I should let Kim speak to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those personnel.
So for the CARES Act funding, operations includes our personnel. So we,
Okay.
during CARES Act, COVID, for example, for the tribe, where we normally, they would pay a portion of the expense and the remainder would be matched. During all of COVID, in fact, all the way through December, we just went back in January, all expenses were covered at 100% using our CARES Act funding, including our staff here in public transportation. They were also covered 100% with CARES Act funding. So that's what the dollars are used for. It's all operations, including personnel.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's all on the transit side, nothing on the grant side.
People that are currently funded by public transportation, yes.
Okay.
And Kim, did you say since January?
Well, during the entire,
COVID?
CARES period, yeah.
the allowable expense
Okay,
period.
okay.
So it began March 1.
Okay. Got it. So that would have been March 1 of
And just for an additional data point, we have
Uh-huh.
grants that we have received funding that are older grants
Yes?
that we don't want to lose, and so we have now switched over to those grant funds so we can make sure that we expend those dollars, since our CARES funding doesn't have a sunset, whereas the existing grants that we do has a performance end date, and we want to make sure that we leverage all the dollars that were allocated to us.
Right?
Okay, fair enough. Okay, and no C budget requests?
No, thank you.
Okay, and are we gonna get a transit, budget separate from this?
Well, our transportation budgets come before you as the awards are given, and then any remaining funds roll forward into the next year. We will be bringing before you today at the business meeting our program of projects,
Right.
which will talk about our allocation for our FY21 apportionment of federal funds. We discussed previously that the FAST Act did not, it was due to end. They did extend it for 1 year. So we have 1 year extension right now at this point, and that's what we'll be bringing before you today at the business meeting is our proposed program of projects, how we will allocate that apportionment.
Okay,
And then those dollars, once it goes through the program of projects, then it goes on to the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Plan, and the statewide Transportation Improvement Plan. And that's where we, from this program of projects, that's how we put our applications in for our federal funding, and then we would come before you and the cycle would start again for the projects that we have specified.
okay.
Okay. Bill, any questions?
No.
Okay, Leslie?
Nope.
All right. Jody, Kim, any questions for us?
No, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to allow us to present.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, you're the third ones. The format's working out really well because it's giving us a good high level, and then we can ask the questions for any necessary details. So you're the third ones to go, and we certainly have I think we have about another dozen within our departments. Okay.
Okay, just real quick, Chris, did you want to hear about HPC real quick? I wasn't sure if we needed to speak to that just real quick since we're the ones that were doing the budget.
It's
Or
not,
do you want us to reserve a different time since it may not have been on the agenda?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
agenda,
yeah,
so we'll
yeah.
have to,
yeah, I need to wait.
piggyback that on another one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we'll get it added.
Okay, thank you. We'll do it.
Okay, guys,
We'll
thanks.
plan on for it.
Okay,
Thank you.
you bet. Public comment? None? 1:15, meeting adjourned.